welcome back into the grow room. Today I have exciting developments to show you. Wasn't sure if we were going to make any more hydroponic videos, but then I saw how happy the plants are and I knew you'd want to see it. And I want to talk a bit more today about how I made the tower system and what I want to do to improve it in the future. And also I added more hydroponics, so we're going to see how to put together a deep water cultivation system with an irrigation system included. I struggle. The struggle is real. The lighting is harsh and the struggle is real. And I am very sweaty because I did some last minute touches in this room that I've been putting off for far too long. So let's get into it and let's go back in time. See these tomatoes? See how they're like even the big ones? They're not huge. They're like little guys. Well, these tomatoes were planted at the exact same time. Now, these look a little bit sad because I was doing some work on this back wall and they may have been a little bit crunched. And for that, I'm sorry. Oh, that one's fully broken off. Okay, this is a purple spreading broccoli. So I'm gonna give this to the chickens, make their day. And this, I believe it's a, I don't know how to pronounce it. It's a tomato from New Zealand that grows supposedly like 4 feet tall and has good size tomatoes. This was planted at the same time as those little seedlings because I had a different tomato in here and the stem got snapped, like no leaves, just snap stem. So I plucked it out and I pulled the biggest seedling from the tomato section and I put it in here. I love how happy the tomato and the broccoli that's in the deep water bucket looks so much that I may have done a little bit of panic buying recently, in that all of the household products and like our conditioner, our lotion, our toilet cleaner, our everything comes from the Unscented Company and they are in Canada. So I did do a panic buy of all that just to try to get us at least through the year, give us some time to figure some stuff out, give the world some time to figure some stuff out. But also the other thing that I panic bought is I wanted more deep water culture buckets. So these, they're real cheap. I'm pretty sure that they are just a very big, cheap Chinese company that just puts out a wide variety of things. And this is the same brand as I got for my previous systems for both the buckets and like the tower thing that I've since reimagined because the tower thing sucked, but the buckets are great. You saw how happy the broccoli and the tomatoes were. So I wanted more of those and I got a very similar model, not the exact model. The exact model was out of stock and they said it wouldn't be in stock for a couple of weeks. So of course I bought the other kind and then I got a notification like the next day that it was back in stock. But that's okay because it should still be as good. The only real difference is it's not sharing the water. It doesn't have a reservoir tank. It's not sharing the water. So I will have to make sure that each tank is individually filled. So I can make sure that I am adjusting what nutrients each bucket is getting instead of just giving them all a bunch of master blend and maybe some CalMag. I'm gonna bring it down. I'm gonna bring it down here. Come down with me. Come on. All right, there now you're just a little guy. Are we doing on light? That's fine. Okay, we really. There we go. Okay, so this, I haven't opened it yet. My kid was really desperate to know what was inside, so they cracked it open. But I'm not imagining it being super different from the original ones that I had. Ooh, but also I was able to put it together, together pretty easily with all of the irrigation tools that I already had from doing my outside irrigation systems. So we'll see if I need to go find that. Is there anything in there? All right, empty box. have a bucket full of doodads and tubing. Yeah, I probably will need to go get my thing. Ooh, okay, so this one is different because the other ones are just deep. I'm gonna sit down. Ow, my back. The old system is just deep water. So you get it nice and deep, and then the root, as long as the water is up to wherever the roots are, you're good. So when I'm planting new seeds, I make sure that I fill the water up right to the tippy top. And this system has irrigation rings. So theoretically, if I'm not on top of the water and it gets too low for the roots, it'll still be getting water, still be getting the hydration and the nutrition that it needs. So I don't know if this is going to be an upgrade or not. We'll find out. We have our air stones and our nozzles here. I'm pretty sure my irrigation stuff is in the electrical room. Otherwise it's in the garage, or we'll figure that out. Oh, these boxes are so heavy when your body is broken. I was thinking maybe I would get back into working out today, but like lifting weights, because I've been working on the treadmill. I've been doing some stretches, but I don't think we're gonna get to weights today because I carried the launder down and I carried this down, and they were both a little at the edge of what's possible right now. Just pro tip, don't get old. I am able, like I have been doing some like planks and stuff to try to make sure that my core is strong. So this is the air pump, which I thought it had more thingies on it, so they must be elsewhere. We have baskets. Well, you know, we'll figure it out. Okay, so this is the other piece that goes on the air nozzle. Here's my plan. So you know the tower that I have, that's the tubes that womp that I showed you because I love it. And honestly, because I think that it's the thing that would be most exciting for a viewer to see. I want to build that, but longer. So like taking up a good chunk of space, potentially using like a run and then trying to keep it more level so that it holds more water, or finding something like so that we can go from big tube to little tube to big tube, because that's something that I think does work very well in theory for the VEVOR system, VEVOR system that I had previously, is that it allows water to pool up a little bit. That's kind of the main struggle point that we have with that system, is that there are parts of the system that they get the water, but they get it very shallowly. So you can only put plants with really long roots in those places. But honestly, I have been able to fill those up. So it might, we'll see, watch the space, but like actual elbows so we don't have random holes in them. I'm excited about that, but I don't want it to go all the way to the ground. I want it to go probably like, you know, the way that I have the bucket nestled, like the reservoir bucket nestled underneath my system now, like that whole space can be more buckets. So we want to have deep water on the bottom and then the continuous flow tubing on top. And as long as I'm careful about what plants I put where so that nothing is upset because it needs more space, I think it'll work really well. And also the thing about having the longer things is then I can have a little more space between the holes, just to make sure that we don't have any bullies just absolutely wrecking other plants, or that when we take a plant out because it's completed its cycle, that it's not ripping out other people's roots. So that's the goal. Okay. Oh. Also, I'm pretty sure I need to wash these. So that'll probably happen off camera, because then I won't have to clean my sink for you. I if this is like regular 1/4 inch tubing, we are in luck because I have plenty of that left over, I think. And if not, it's easy to get my hands on it. But if this is some funky tubing, we might be in trouble. But I am gonna pause you now and see if I can find my irrigation tools and stretch. Oh God, I missed the old version. This garbage instructions so far. I was gonna do a bucket or two first and then come back to you, but I think I want you get to watch me struggle. So you've got to cut this hole. You've got to cut a hole in the bottom of this, and it's pretty thick plastic. I'll show you on one of these guys right here. You got to cut this out, and it recommends that you do that with scissors, which I think would be really hard on most scissors. Luckily, I'm a crafter, so I have the tools. I did find my irrigation stuff, but I'm not to the point where I can decide whether or not it's even helpful to do it, because they make it look like we have parts that we don't, and I think what we need, it doesn't connect there. The problem is I like put this on here to see if it fit, and it fits so well that I can't get it off, but I definitely can't have it here yet, because if it does go here, it goes here through the basket. So, whoops. God damn it. Later. Okay. Just wanted to share that little freak out with you. I don't really want. I don't have the battery, I think, to let you watch me struggle this whole time. So, the other thing, they suggested a hairdryer to loosen the tubing, which I don't really have a hairdryer. I think we have a heat gun, but that might be a little too excessive. But from when I was doing my outside irrigation system, you can't really bring a hairdryer around your entire yard to put in an irrigation system. So I had a water bottle, like an insulated water bottle full of hot water. So I have some hot water. So then when I need to loosen something up, just dip it in the hot water for like 30 seconds. So hopefully I'll get to that step eventually. I don't think that this water will be hot by then, but heat up some more. Oh, and also I did rinse these like Danger Cocoa Puffs. Oof, got a little whiff of that clay off of it. And there's a bag of Cocoa Pebbles for each bucket, so I have 3 more that I need to rinse, but not this second. That can wait. I didn't make great choices today. But you know, growing your own food, always a great choice. And we have so much lettuce that I think that we're like really approaching everyone eats a salad every day. Or at least one person eats a salad every day. Or every other day, but still. Lots of salads, which I need to be better about eating. Okay, I'm going to read the instructions better, and maybe they are great instructions and I'm a terrible reader, which like I don't have the patience for instructions. And we'll be back with either a rage quit or a success, or some combination of the two. Sorry, I keep looking at myself instead of you. Hi. You get some eye contact. So that one's on me. I looked at this picture and I thought they were asking me to put these two together, and it didn't make sense. And it doesn't make sense because they were asking for brackets. I've got a bracket here. I need to put another. Do I need to put another? I don't think I need to put another bracket here. Brackets and like the seal things and this. Which, so far, my bad. And I still can't get this to come apart. that one comes off. Okay. You know what? If you're gonna come off me like that, then hopefully what we need to do is this. Okay. I'm gonna keep trying, and I'm gonna come back hopefully with a completed one, and then we'll do the next one together. Then if you make the same choices as me, I'll be here to help you out, I guess. I have updates. First update is I thought that they were saying that this is, I don't even know if you can read that if it's ever gonna focus, that this line right here is letter I, which is the tubing, but it's actually the outline of the bucket. So I was very confused because I thought that they were showing us so many steps in one. I mean, I did get there because I took a break and I said, actually, if I have these tools, how would I do it? And that helped a lot to think about how I would actually make it functional versus trying to figure out what they did. But it's pretty okay. It's pretty laid out once you understand what is an instruction and what is not. We've got it now. So I have 3 buckets done. One of them I put the clay pebbles in it, and then I realized that it would be better to do that once the buckets are in place. So we're gonna take care of the rest of them. This one might be a bit of a pain to move, but they're also not connected yet, so shouldn't be too hard yet. You do have to guess, okay, where is the pump gonna be and how much space do I need on my tubies to get there? The other good news is I found an old, I don't actually have any solid 1/4 inch tubing at the moment, but I do have this old piece of it, and it did fit through the hole, so this is 1/4 inch tubing. So if I need a whole bunch more, I can get a whole bunch more. They sell them everywhere, like they sell lawn and garden irrigation things, so that's not a problem. But we have a bucket, and the bucket has holes. It's got 3 holes up here. I'm sorry, this is a lot of black on black. I don't know how much you'll be able to see, but we're gonna do our best. We've got 3 holes, 1, 2, 3, and then 1 hole down here. And for each hole, oh no! As I said, lots of black on black. We have these little seals, like these rubber seals. That go into the bucket. So I'm just gonna go ahead and plug up all my holes right now. Well, it doesn't plug them up, but seal them up so that there shouldn't be any leaking once we put in the tubes and whatever they need in that hole. Now, this piece can go on last. We don't need to put this on right now, but we want to make sure we don't accidentally, where did those go? We do want to make sure we don't accidentally put a tube into this hole when we need this hole to be able to hold the level meter steady. So I just need to find, doing this on a black rug was a choice. It's not a good one. So pro tip, don't do this on a black rug. You will not find anything you need. So we've got this little bracket. It doesn't actually pinch, but it does. Okay, I think maybe you can see it a bit better against my skin. So we've got this bracket, and that goes into the hole that's above the hole in the bottom. Because all this does is it holds up the levels nice and straight. So is it a bit silly that there is a hole into the bucket for this? Yes, but I guess it was cheaper and easier for them to punch a hole in the bucket than it would be to manufacture a doodad. So now we've got that in, and it is time for tubes. So you're gonna take your tube. You can get it slightly warm I don't know that it really helps that much. I think the stiffness kind of helps because all you're doing is you're shoving and then you're pulling. So we're going to, is this even in focus? We're gonna take our tube, which I got wet, so it's kind of lubed, but it doesn't need to be. Unless it's really, if it's giving you a hard time, you can try it, but we're just gonna take it. We're gonna shove it into this hole. It doesn't super matter which hole. I'm going into the hole that is next to my brackety thing. This is where we're gonna put the air stone. Currently my air stone is sitting in some water because you're supposed to soak it for like 10 seconds first. But I just dunked it in the water and I'll come back for it when I get a chance. Because the water, the hot water that I got for this project was not hot and it's warm enough that I can stick my hand in it. So, helpful. Okay, now, I'm sure you can't see this because as I mentioned, black on black on black. I can grab this and pull it, and I'm just pulling it until it reaches the bottom of the bucket. So it's about this long. And now I can stick the air stone. Now I can stick the air stone on it. Yep. There we go. And now this will be the last bucket of the line. So I'm gonna set it down here, get an idea of how much length that I need to get to the air pump, which theoretically is right here. I'm gonna take these handy dandy things that I got for actual irrigation purposes and snip the line. Okay, now speaking of snipping, I need to snip the hole in here, so I need to find my snips. Luckily my snips have a not black thing, so I can actually see them. And in this void that we are currently working in. So I will just go through. Can you even see? Can you see? You can kind of see right now. We've got like a little Mercedes-Benz thing. We're just gonna snip each of them as close to the edge as we can, because the thing that goes in this one is kind of thick. So we do need to get as much space as possible. So where are you? You are. Okay. Got it. Now, these guys. First off, we're gonna take this and push it through the hole. And it's gonna work. Yeah, there it goes. Okay, so we push this through the hole. And now, we're gonna take this. We're gonna just move this T thing so that it is pointing down. We stick it on. Easy peasy. Now, I need to put some more air tubing in through that last hole and connect it to here. You're not gonna be able to see that very well because it's gonna be in the bucket. We're gonna push this last bit through the hole and connect it here. And I still have that attached. It got a little pinched in the clippers, so I even it out a little bit. So same thing as before, where we're just, ooh, that one's going a lot more smoothly. I said a little too soon. So I've got like, okay, now we've got a good amount. It's you don't need a ton because this thing isn't that far. So it just needs to be able to, yeah, that's plenty. So now this goes into the sideways one. So it's gonna draw up water from the bottom and it's gonna draw in air from the side. And that way it's gonna aerate the water that it's using to water the crops. Now, for this one we can cut it a little bit shorter because we need to add in the regulator valve. So I've got my last little guy here. See this, and this one, it's really nice because a lot of times these little valves. So this is a rainbird one for outside. And these just have an arrow on them. Now for the outside ones, you just want the arrow to be in line with the line if you want the water out, and not parallel, and perpendicular to the line if you want to stop it. But this one, it has, because this one isn't like stopping and starting, this is more or less. So this one has actually the plus and the minus, which is nice because normally you don't know. It took me too long to figure out what did what, like as far as other things went. Yeah, you won the short one. Okay, so now we just have to stick this on. Okay, so the rest of the things that we have are for the air pump, and we also have this little bag of teeny tiny balls. Now, my first one, we only had one level that went on the reservoir, and so it only had one little ball. And I think I put it in too soon because then it tipped over and I lost the ball. The ball's gone forever, so don't put this in until everything is set up and ready to go. Okay? Don't put this in until everything's like filled up with water and possibly even running. Leave these balls in the bag. Okay, well, I need to charge my battery and make some room in my growing space. And then we'll come back and we will hook it all up. Welcome, we're back into the growing area. I did have to do a rearrange. This used to be right here. I moved it over and it's still, I've got space for 3 buckets. Didn't have space for the 4th. So, and it wouldn't fit nicely in between this bucket because I didn't initially build it for that. When I redo it, everything will have a home and it'll be great and it won't be way too close to this. But in the meantime, I did try and cut a piece of wood for it, and then I saw that we still have these old tiles just sitting around. And I think that that'll work a lot better. So we got, now we need to hook up the air pump, and then we can add the pebbles in the water and the nutrients and the plants. And this guy is in the way. There's anything I can do about it right now, though. This one has the longest. So, but I think actually the pump probably should be here. So I'm gonna swap these two. And see if we can get everything to meet. Okay, you're pretty close. So I think if it's like this one, I still have to do a little bit of tubing off of the pump. Yeah, I do still have to do a little bit of tubing off of the pump, so it's okay if I don't quite have enough space. Let go of my thing, thank you. So now we're gonna connect these guys up. So these go on every single one. These little things that come. Oh, how do we? Now the instructions. The instructions didn't actually cover this piece because we've got this like rubbery thing, and we've got these pins. So the rubbery thing makes total sense that goes. Maybe it doesn't make total sense. I thought it went here. I don't know where else it would go, but this is still a bit loose, so I think what we need, sorry, this is, I'm gonna have to just come back once I charge this puppy up. I plugged in my battery and it just didn't charge, so maybe it was the battery that doesn't charge. I don't know, I'm gonna see if the other one still has any juice in it. Okay, I did a silly thing, and one end, the hole is smaller than the other. And these things, they're like spring foam clamps that you use like with barbells. They squeeze. So I think we need to put the small hole, hold this up where you can see it, put the small hole on the small outlet, and then probably throw a clamp on it if we can do it with our itty bitty grip strength. Ugh. This is really not for weaklings. So we shall see if it is for me. Okay, so squeeze it, push it. And that's about as far as I can get it because the thing is in the way and I don't want it to be making so that it doesn't sit flat. And then I guess we have to put this on first and then adjust it afterwards, otherwise we're not going to get it on. So put on the second clip and then I'm going to shove this in and now try to move this clip up. Ow! Oh my god. Okay, this part sucks and it hurts my fingies. But I think that's what it's supposed to be. So if we can plan on it sitting here, get a little space like that. I had to add a little extra piping for this to get it enough space for a bucket to be here nicely. I tried flipping it around, but then it didn't feel right. So we're working on it. Okay, so now I need a little bit in each one, but I might, yeah. So we're gonna go, of course, the closest ones I'm gonna put here. And these don't need a lot of tubing, so I'm just gonna cut them a teeny tiny bit so we can make sure that we have plenty of tubing for the last bits. But we are going to, this is where it probably would be nice to have hot water. So maybe I'll get some, but it seems to be going on. I just kind of have to like put it on and then like wiggle and push. Wiggle and push. Wiggle and push. Come on, one more. You can do it. I believe in you. Alright. So now we're like over those nodules and I can't pull it back. Is my mouth hot enough for this? I don't think so. I did just have a smoothie with iced berries in it. Frozen berries. Okay. I think we're going a little bit faster because I'm almost to the last thing. Okay, I think this is good enough. Okay, so now we can add these dudes. Is there a direction that they need to be? On the ones that I did, I have the flat facing the machine. I'll double check that it's the machine's. It looks like it's the same with the flat bits facing the machine. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, the flat bit is facing the machine. Huzzah! It is the same. So I'm gonna put this on here. Shove it. And then the one. Shove it. Now, the one that is connected to the irrigation is going to need another piece of black tubing. But the one that is connected to the, I can hook up the one that is connected to the air stone now before I forget which one is which. And then we will cut a piece that connects these two together. But again, that shouldn't need to be very big because this is, I can reach them already. So we just need a little guy. Because we don't want to waste our tubing, because then we would have to wait until we got more to keep going. And this is an awful lot of work to not finish it in one day. Come on, man. Get up over that hump. Dance till you feel better. How much time do I have? Oh, I'm almost out of SD card and I'm almost out of battery, so we shall see. Alright, so that is one of them fully connected. So now all I gotta do is do the same thing for the rest of them. which I have plenty of tubing, so we're gonna make it, but we are not gonna make it there together because the battery that I plugged in to charge didn't charge. And I will show you, I mean, we might do the reveal tomorrow, but we'll be back with the reveal of the setup things. Ta-da! I have 4 buckets all filled up, and I shoved some of these in here. I have gotten seeds to sprout in just these, but I think it works better if you have something for them to dig into at first, because if the water is unexpectedly too low and all they have is clay pebbles, they're going to dry up and you're going to lose your seedlings. But speaking of seedlings, so far I have filled these up, but I have not added any nutrients. Now my older system has a little access point for the nutrients, but I never use that. I always just lifted the bucket, so just lift the bucket and dump in your nutrients. And there you go. Now one of the things that I very quickly did this morning was I made a little shelf here so that we could have our pump sitting up off the ground and hopefully out of any splash zones. And this thing did fall off a few times, so I'm not sure how to do that better, but at least it pushed back in easily. I did connect this to a timed outlet, so it should be on 15, off 15 throughout the 24-hour cycle. On 15, off 15, because I don't think it needs the constant aeration, but it does need consistent aeration. So hopefully that'll save a little bit of energy. But let's talk about this thing. And obviously when I redo the thing, I want to keep in mind this guy and making sure I have a good place for it. This isn't ideal. Like if this overflowed, it would overflow onto it. I just don't know where else I could put it. Like if I put it here, there's no good spot. So I will make a good spot in the fall. In the meantime, fingers crossed, this has been running flawlessly for a few weeks now, so fingers crossed we continue in that vein. This tower has been working perfectly. My partner just sealed up the gaps with silicone because it wanted to fall apart. It's not built to be like this, and even when you build it the way it's supposed to be, it's a little leaky. So silicone is the friend. Down here we have a 5-gallon bucket that has the water and the nutrients, and there is inside of it I have a pond pump that pushes water up to 5 feet. You want to make sure that the pump can push it as far as you need it to go. So the water gets pumped up through this cable, this tube. Now this tube came clear, so it has some algae buildup in it, but as this has been running, the algae has cleared out a bit, so I think the constant pressure has helped, but obviously you don't want this to be clear. That's just the way it came. It goes into this first pipe here. Because these pipes are reused from a VEVOR like system with 3 levels, it's meant to be flat, and honestly it didn't work very well, which I went over more in depth in a previous video. It sucked, so I wanted to try to make it work, and the way to make it work was to rebuild it entirely. But because it's meant to be different, everything has a lot of holes. And I really only need just like the one. I don't need this many holes in all of these things. So the way that the original system dealt with the excess holes, because it didn't want holes everywhere it had holes either, is it has little plastic stoppers. And I'll try to insert a footage of that. I don't think you're going to see it very well because I'm not going to take this apart to show you. Every single stopper that I had went into this. So every single extra hole has a stopper, and if I had more stoppers, this system would have been bigger. The thing that's nice about this system is that the joints, the water has to build up a certain amount before it can go through. So I don't know if that's a way that I can replicate on my own, I am going to try. I'm going to see what is available. These are not a standard size that I can find anywhere near us. So this is the reason why we didn't add any store parts. It's because they just don't exist that fit this diameter that I could find for a reasonable price. I think I found some for like hundreds of dollars. And even these baskets, they came with the original thing. The joints, because the water's up a little bit higher, these joints tend to have more water in them. So I'm treating this like a nursery right now. I have these little Tom Thumb peas that I sowed yesterday, and I want to make sure that they're getting consistent water. So I'm just sticking them in here for now, and then once they start to sprout, and once the roots are long enough to hit the water in other areas, then I'll transfer them into the waiting holes that I have for them. As far as what I added to the system to make it work, I built a frame out of scrap wood. I'd already made a level to try to make the old system work. So I had a base, and when that didn't work, I just put in some scrap wood. So the height's also dictated by the scrap wood that I had. They're not super tall, so we don't have a super tall tower system. We purchased strapping to hold the stuff in, and we purchased silicone. And we purchased a 5-gallon bucket for the reservoir, and we purchased a pond pump because the old system burnt out 2-3 pumps. See, I'm going to show you right now the beauty of this system. I don't think that these tomatoes want to be next to each other like this because I think that they're going to be too crowded. So I'm going to take them out, and we can see all these lovely roots that are getting into the water, and I'm going to space them out a bit. So I'm going to do tomato, lettuce, tomato. Come on, get in all those roots. We want all of you to come to the party. So I don't think you want to move them around too much, but especially when they're this small, we can get away with it, so we're gonna get away with it before it's too late. And then some lettuce. But also, when I want to like do a similar system, but with probably bigger piping, and I will probably cut bigger holes to fit net pots that I can find those locally, and give them a little more space between them. So the roots have more space, and maybe try to make it more level. So it'll be wider, because I want it to go like the full width all the way to like where my furthest bucket is. Wider and like maybe a little taller. So that's the goal. That's the goal. I'm gonna put in another light over here so that this gets a little extra light. It's difficult in this part of the basement because there's so much like ductwork above us. In the other part, it was really easy because I could just put everything onto a beam. You need more support, bam! You get a piece of string from the ceiling. You get lights from the ceiling. Like, everything was easier, but we're gonna figure it out. Anyway, so we have lots of lettuce. I think lots of lettuce and some kale. Back here we've got a little pea. We've got a little Tom Thumb pea, and that is the same thing that I have planted in these little nurseries because I have 4 spots waiting. I planted a bunch of peas and 2 sprouted and only 1 of them made it because I guess peas are a little more, look at those. Those are some beautiful looking roots. Good job, pea. The other one, it looked like the root was long enough that it should be getting water, but the bedding itself wasn't getting water. Now for like this one, for some of the lettuces, the bedding clearly isn't getting water, but the roots are in and they're still doing fine. I might put this one where it gets a little more water just to make sure it's happy, but like I should really pinch one of these guys out. Oh my goodness, there's 3 in here. There's 4 in here? Okay, so this, I think, is the Tranchuta kale. Yes, it's a very cabbagey kale. Ooh, I don't really want to get rid of all of you. I'll get rid of 2 of you. But the roots are happy, the plant is happy, the bedding is not happy. So a lot of these I put in, and they had like a lot of them sown, but not a lot of roots. So I didn't want to pinch out until I knew which ones were actually in the water. Now the other pea that died, just dried up. So I think it very much cared that its bedding was dry. So that means that when I plant that means that once these guys graduate from the nursery, I need to be more careful, more thoughtful about where they go. I'll stick you in here so you're nice and wet. But, so this is my happy little system. So for this system, this one's different than the new one, in that each of these has air pumped into it through this hole, but they share water through these pipes. So you can turn it off so it won't share water, but there is a reservoir in the middle. That one doesn't have any plants in it. It just has a dragon and an air pump. Ooh, and only one water gauge, which is missing its little red ball. So they all share water out of this tank unless you turn off that functionality. And it doesn't have irrigation, so when I have little seedlings in, like this little cucumber, like this little guy, oh my goodness, poor cucumber, you gotta make sure that the water is up high enough that they can access. This should be a bait alpha cucumber, which is a greenhouse variety, meaning it doesn't need pollination to give cucumbers. So you can come down here and you can pollinate the flowers, just, for hopefully a better harvest, but you'll still get cucumbers even if you do nothing, theoretically. But I do need to add some CalMag because, well, I need to get CalMag so I can add CalMag to this guy and to my tomatoes, but it'll share it with all of them, so hopefully they'll do fine. This little guy, like, this thing has lived for so long. It used to have a perpetual spinach in here, and it managed to outlive the perpetual spinach, which is amazing because I thought that the perpetual spinach was gonna bully this thing out of existence. This is Culantro, so it tastes like cilantro. I don't know what it tastes like to people who think cilantro tastes like soap. I don't know if this also tastes like soap or if it's like a miracle plant that they will enjoy. That is not something I know. I would love to do that experiment though. But it tastes just like cilantro. But cilantro, you plant it, it bolts in like a month or something ridiculous. No more cilantro. But this thing has been living. I mean, it's been living before I put it in this pot, before I got these pots. So it's been living for years, happily living, and it flowers, but it still keeps going, and the leaves are still delicious. So it's gone through several rounds of flowering, and it just keeps going. So Culantro is fantastic if you love cilantro, and you are so tired of cilantro bolting on you. Now, it doesn't give you the coriander seeds, so I still need to grow cilantro so that I can put those seeds in my pickles. But it's a beautiful plant. And so this system, I don't know if you can, see, look at all them roots. I think that actually is probably a leftover perpetual spinach roots, because they have real chunky roots. But the basket for these is a lot smaller, so they don't share space well. I don't know if the new system you can squeeze in more than one plant, but this one has a really small basket. And here underneath my dragon butt, this is the little thing where you can put in nutrients, which I never use. But I imagine I should make sure. That's a good idea. I'm gonna do that right now. Before all these plants get really big and unwieldy, I'm going to turn them so that this is accessible. Because I imagine once this is full of a big climbing cucumber, this is gonna be a better access point than lifting the tray. So I'm gonna do that with all of my plants. Here The other thing that I did today, which you won't know because you won't notice because you didn't really see it much before, is we had this Reflectix that was just kind of like on the ground, and I I hung it up. I would like to put up more Reflectix, maybe replace the really annoying shower curtains with it, but I added in, this is the wrong string. We want a twine. This is the twine that I used before, and it's really grippy, so I think it really makes it easier for the plants to climb on it. But I was looking for more twine, couldn't find twine, but I saw like all this string, and it was all tied to little L brackets. And I don't know why it was tied to L brackets, but because we're under a lot of venting, I can't just drop something down from the ceiling like I normally would. So the L brackets actually made a lot of sense. So I probably will upgrade this string for a twine in the future, but right now I'm loving it. And there's like more than one hole on each L bracket, so I can drop down more of these. The other thing that I did, which is long overdue, is I got all of my surge protectors and stuff off the ground. Thank you so much for joining me. Keep it cozy. See you next time.